Good evening. Welcome to the Glazov gang. Our tough and streetwise and intellectual gang members this evening are Dwight Schultz, who played Murdock on NBC's The A-Team. Rob Nelson, former Fox News talk show host, and you were the host of The Full Nelson, a great show.
Thank you, Jamie.
And Diane Zinn, an artist, painter at ZINNZART.com. Am I correct?
That's right.
And also a very concerned citizen.
Very concerned.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just witnessed the vice presidential debate. Dwight, your take on it.
I think that the audience eventually, after thinking about it for about a few moments, is going to side with Ryan. Biden, at the beginning, was pummeling Ryan. Ryan was very quiet. He wasn't really meeting the points that Biden was throwing out there. But this old saying came to me, everything comes to he who waits. And you could see Ryan just sitting back and letting Biden go. And before long, Biden was throwing 360-degree punches. Like I said, he was hitting himself in the jaw. He was smiling, he was making fun, he was laughing, he was ridiculing, he was interrupting, and Raditz joined in. So it was... And I love debate, and I loved Christopher Hitchens, even though I disagree with most of what he said, but I want him on my team when I debate. I was cringing about 20 minutes into this debate, and I said, Biden lost it because of his own sense of bravura.
Okay, just a second. Dwight, now, I think that you have a favorable disposition towards Ryan. Now, maybe you might be a bit biased here. Let me ask you this.
I am biased.
How about the people that would say that Biden was being authoritative and experienced walking over a younger, inexperienced person?
Yes, you could say that, and you have seen that. But this was not that kind of performance. Trust me, there were moments where he was just doing this sort of thing.
And laughing
and
laughing
all of the time. It was so over the top. And as I was driving in after the debate, I heard even MSNBC had scored the debate with their Instapoll. It was big. MSNBC, it was big for Ryan. CNN, it also was for Ryan, but not quite as big.
Dwight, before we move over to the artist and painter and concerned citizen.
What about Rob?
I go
Skipped
last.
over?
Yeah,
what was one of the 360-degree punches you're talking about?
Well, they started talking about what happened
in Libya,
in Libya, in Benghazi, and he just got it all wrong by saying that the security in Benghazi didn't know that this was a terrorist attack. He said that wasn't the information. I watched all 4 hours of the hearing. The 2 members of the State Department who were part of the security detail, it was clear. It was clear from the beginning. And the State Department, of course, held a press conference yesterday where they said they don't know where this film thing came or this demonstration thing came. They knew it was a terrorist attack immediately.
Is Biden ignorant and maybe wasn't informed, or is he lying?
No, I don't think he knew what he was saying. I think he was saying anything that was oppositional to what Ryan was saying.
Diane, how did you read it? Do you agree with Dwight?
I thought Biden was condescending. You know, it was sort of like how Obama tried to be in his debate. Like, tried to act like, oh, this is such a joke, and you're such a joke, and I can't stand that. He wasn't respectful. It was rude. You know, he acted like the guy was an idiot. You know, he acted like...
so the way that Biden acted in terms of being authoritative, speaking to a younger, inexperienced person and laughing, you think it's going to hurt Biden?
Yeah, I think... Well,
okay, Rob.
And can I ask? Can we go back at some point to the Libya thing, because that ties into a couple things I want to talk about,
Now, you
including the media.
have a cut on your face. You were in a street fight, so you couldn't watch the vice presidential debate. Am I correct?
I was fighting, having a political fight.
Okay, now 1 second. You missed the VP debate.
With the liberal. Yeah, I wasn't able to see it.
So let me get your information on this then, your wisdom. What did you think of how the media covered Romney's victory last week?
Well, wait, let me say something about the vice presidential debate, even though I missed it.
Okay.
I'd like to comment on what you guys said. I think first of all, I think the vice presidential debate is relatively insignificant. The presidential debates really have an impact. I think in this case, Ryan simply had to not lose badly. If he'd done something stupid, a big gaffe, made a fool of himself, made a terrible impression, people would go, oh my God, do I want that person to be in line for the presidency? As long as he held his own, and most people, it's whatever, and didn't even watch. What I did notice is, though, the time that they spent, the time that Biden talked more than
11
Ryan,
minutes.
11 minutes, and the same thing with Obama, where it's like 5 or 6 minutes. That it's funny to me that these guys in office don't realize that when you keep on talking, and I saw this in the presidential debate, people they're not paying attention, they lose track of what your point was, and in the end, it comes off as like you're really full of yourself. Now, what I noticed in the presidential debate was, Romney was so focused and said simple thoughts, simple things, clear points. Neither one of them really explained how they're going to solve the big problems, but they at least laid out a philosophy. And Obama just kind of pedantically went on talking the way you described. I didn't see it, the way you described Biden, kind of full of himself. And I think it makes people feel kind of alienated. And I think that's a problem that both these candidates have, the president and the vice president, and that it's weird. It's sort of like, are they in that much of a bubble? Like, do they not get that, like, are they that disconnected?
Well, you did hear that there was a staffer who said that when Obama left the stage, he thought he had won.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Oh, yes, yes. He thought he
was the only one in America.
I know. Even Axelrod said, oh, really?
And he thought he had won because I think that the left is very insulated in general.
Yeah.
They think that they're the social redeemers, what we think is right. They don't care about what people really want. But in other words, I think Obama thought he had won because he doesn't even think he has to debate or score points. He just thinks that the angels are on his side.
Well, okay, and I was going to say, with that presidential debate, you could tell that Romney was speaking from his heart. He believed what he was saying. He had core beliefs, core values, right? And he could just say what he thought. That's why he came off so dynamic. But Obama, he's not an empty suit. He's full of ideology, but he has to hide it all the time. Yeah. So like his lies weren't scripted on a teleprompter. So he didn't know what to say.
I disagree with you there, and I disagree with this idea that
wait a minute,
But I would say,
Rob, wait, I want to get her point.
Then he starts talking in circles. That's what.
Wait, Rob, before you go, so Diane, your point is that because Romney is being truthful, so he does better. You think that Obama is wearing masks, and because he's wearing masks, he fails in the debate.
He does,
right?
Because he does. You see it on the campaign trail.
See, I think
Rob, we already know our disagreement about that you don't think Obama's intentionally trying to destroy America. We know that we have that disagreement.
Right, but can I just say,
go ahead, yeah,
I don't, and I think that's crazy, but what I think what really is a much simpler explanation of why he comes off that way is that he is basically lecturing like the professor at the front of the classroom, likes to hear himself talk, and is that bubbly isolated from things that he's not even paying attention to who his audience is. Romney was going, I'm going to try to connect with the people at home. Obama was just kind of, I'm talking because I'm the president.
You think
and
it's
I got
just an overall arrogance?
Arrogance, a sort of he sees the way he passed healthcare. Even it's like what I want my way and everybody else. It's like you're not going to get anything done that way. So to me, it's more simple than that.
But he is though. I mean, I disagree with you here because I keep waiting for someone to say this since the information has come forth. But his first party in the United States, the New Party, had as its purpose statement, they said, "We are against American enterprise itself." Now, who joins that party? Who joins a party that says, I am against American enterprise itself? Who?
And lies about it.
That's
where Diane is right in the sense that he did lie about being a member of the party.
He is a neo-communist, neo-Marxist, a socialist. And I think he is basically attempting to pull the United States out of the world, which is why he tapped Medvedev on his hand and said, "I'll get that. We'll have more flexibility." That was pretty scary. But I think he has been doing the job that he's always been always had in his heart. That was to bring the United States to the position that he thinks it should be in. And that party, joining that party, also appointing someone like John Holdren, who says, I have a plan to de-develop the United States of America, and the United States must lower its standard of living so the rest of the world may raise it. I don't think you join a party like that. I don't think you appoint somebody like that unless you are behind that.
Right, now, Dwight, now I want to bring this back to the debate.
Yeah.
Because of that agenda and masking that agenda to one degree or another before the campaign, before he became president, now he's president, it slowly is coming out.
Yeah.
You think that those masks of his radicalism is what hurts him during a debate with Romney?
I think it does, because it's like it's an extraordinary, if the history of communism in the United States, when you see the individuals who were at the highest levels of government who denied what they were, when you actually, when you actually, those who were caught or those who were involved in that kind of deception, the terror, the pain and suffering that they go through trying to maintain the mask of I'm not that. Elizabeth Bentley, when she finally gave in, it was the flood came, and he is right now at the pinnacle. He is a success. This guy's not stupid. When people say he's stupid,
who, Obama?
Oh no, a lot of credit. Yes, a lot of conservatives think he's in over his head. He's stupid. I do not believe this man.
I want to move on.
Stupid.
Okay, just a sec. So Diane, go ahead. Let's.
I agree exactly with you, Dwight. I don't think he's inept at all. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. I think he's a communist. His whole background is communist. And Valerie Jarrett runs his life. She's an avowed communist. David Axelrod.
Her father. And Axelrod's parents.
Yes, they're all communists. She tells them what to say and do. Valerie Jarrett does.
Now, Diane, and overall, not to be too repetitive, but to conclude on this, you think that wearing those masks makes him maybe a great campaigner for his groupies, but makes him a poor debater when he has to face a truth teller like Romney?
Right. I think he doesn't know how to hide it. He gets mixed up.
Now, Rob, we know we have some disagreements over Obama's real agenda. But if you want to comment, go ahead. But I want us to focus on also, you're quite an expert at media relations and campaigns. You've been involved with the Clinton administration. How do you see overall these debates and what's happening?
Well, I think it's interesting. I think, and I think the press plays a huge role in this.
And as an independent, you agree that the press is on Obama's side big time,
I think, when I say the press, I don't mean to lump the whole thing in. There's so many more outlets now, not just Fox News. There's a lot of online outlets, and people get news and information from a lot of places. But I think in general, the press has an enormous impact that is very subtle, and we don't realize how it sets the tone or the message. I mean, we'll come back to it later, but the Libya thing, for example, I think they intentionally lied about that because they didn't want to look like they had a flaw in the terror war.
Right.
And people, myself included, immediately bought. I knew there must have been a terrorist thing, but immediately bought that there were protests, and we saw images of them, and it's like, and all of a sudden it's like, no, there were no protests. There's no video of the protests, and I'm like, we just eat that up. So what I think the press has done in this regard is subtly, and some of it's their own bias, like Wolf Blitzer. He can't help himself. Wolf Blitzer today said, some of them try to be objective, some of them don't, but Wolf Blitzer can't help himself. He tries to be objective. And today I watched when he said, well, we'll see when President Obama debates Mitt Romney. And I'm like, oh, I see, wait. So it's not Governor Romney, it's Mitt. It's like when the president debates Mitt. Now, the debate today, they did a whole thing on how Paul Ryan was influenced by Ayn Rand's The Fountainhead. Now, I know a lot of people who were influenced by that book. I read it. There's a lot in it. But he clearly, there were things he admitted. That's a book that's affected a lot of people. And they did this whole thing on how objectivism and the whole philosophy would have no funding for education and no funding for this and nothing for this, and laid out this whole case as if that must be what Paul Ryan thinks.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, what a subtle way to try to taint the candidate before the debate.
I even remember the CNN coverage of Bush and Gore. I mean, they just looked like they were going to cry when they had to announce that Bush was becoming president. They can't.
No, it's true.
Gentlemen, we've come, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the first segment of the Glazov gang. Next segment, we want to discuss Libya and what Biden said. I want to get more into what we knew and when we knew it. But to end this segment on the campaign or the race for president, up till now the debates coming up, very briefly, how do you see all this playing out, Dwight?
I think it's going to be very hard for Obama to do what Biden did tonight, because you did not see a winning strategy. And this was a strategy that everybody, with all the press, all of the Democrats, the people who wanted the red meat, they got the red meat tonight. And it didn't work. And Obama, if he comes out and tries to do anything approaching what Biden did tonight, I think they're in deep, deep trouble. I think they're in trouble anyway.
You mean it'll actually backfire?
Oh, it's already backfired. This is two.
You mean if Obama was accused, or even Bill Maher made the joke that he was high on weed.
Right.
He looked too relaxed. Yeah. But now if he goes on the offensive, that'll backfire.
I think he has to be on the offensive with ideas and action. It has to be intellectual. It can't be this dismissive stuff.
Okay.
It just can't, and it can't be repetition of the,
Okay, Diane?
By his own admission, Obama did not prep very well, right? He kept saying, they want me to do my homework and everything. But you know what? If you have core beliefs, and if you're honest about what you're saying, you shouldn't have to prep that much, right? And he still can't say what he really thinks because he has to hide it all the time. Okay. And the same thing with Biden. I think if he really believed what he was saying, they wouldn't have to sequester him for 6 days to get everything in his head to say. He might have come off like a good debater or whatever, but I don't think it's from his heart. I don't think he's an honest guy. I think he's an old corrupt guy.
Thank you, Diane. Last final wisdom goes to you and some of what you see coming ahead.
I think this race has dramatically turned. I mean, Romney's campaign made a lot of big mistakes, and the Obama administration was benefiting from that and kind of doing things, keeping it. Ever since the Libya thing, things have started to shift. I think we're seeing now that the Romney campaign is figured out, and maybe Romney's figured out. This is what I have to do. This is who I have to be. I need to be direct. I need to be honest. I need to connect with people. And the Obama administration is now in a position which is the worst place for them to be. They're going to be in attack mode, and I think they can't help themselves. They're going to feel they have to attack, and it's going to kind of look unprecedented.
We'll be back tomorrow night. We'll be back tomorrow night for the second segment of the Glazov
Gang.
Yeah.